Do you ever get that feeling at the grocery store checkout, where you look at the total and think, wait, how did it get so high? It feels like your money just doesn't stretch as far as it used to, right? You're not imagining it. While your income might be staying the same, prices for everything from your morning coffee to your monthly rent seem to be creeping up. This silent budget killer has a name: inflation, and it's quietly draining your wallet every single day. So, what exactly is inflation? Let's break it down in a really simple way. Think of inflation as the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and as a result, the purchasing power of your money is falling. Imagine you have a $10 bill. A few years ago, you might have been able to buy a sandwich, a drink, and a bag of chips with it. Today, that same $10 bill might only get you the sandwich. The $10 is still $10, but what it can actually buy has decreased. That's inflation in a nutshell. Your money is losing its value over time, meaning even if your salary stays the same, you can afford less and less. Let's start with the most obvious place we all feel it, the grocery store. Have you noticed the price of essentials like eggs, milk, bread, and meat going up? These aren't luxury items. They're the basics we need to feed ourselves and our families. But it's not just about higher price tags. Companies are also getting creative with something called shrinkflation. That's when you pay the same price, or even a little more for a smaller package. Your favorite bag of chips might have fewer chips in it, or your box of cereal might be a little lighter. It's a sneaky way inflation hits us. Over time, these higher costs force us to change our eating habits. Maybe you're buying less fresh produce, switching to cheaper brands, or eating out less frequently. These small adjustments add up and change how we nourish ourselves. Now let's talk about getting around. Transportation costs are another major area where inflation hits hard. If you drive, you've definitely felt the pain at the pump. Gas prices can be incredibly volatile, and when they spike, it immediately impacts your budget. Every trip to work, school, or the store costs more. But even if you don't own a car, you're not immune. The cost of public transportation, like bus or train fares, has also been on the rise. Ride-hailing services like Uber and Lyft adjust their prices based on demand and operating costs, so your rides are getting more expensive too. And for car owners, it's not just about fuel. The cost of vehicle maintenance, from oil changes to new tires, has also increased because parts and labor are more expensive. Next up is the biggest expense for most people: housing. Whether you're renting or paying a mortgage, there's a good chance you've seen your housing costs go up. Landlords raise rent to keep up with rising property taxes, maintenance costs, and the overall market. For homeowners, property values might be increasing, but so are the costs associated with owning a home. And it doesn't stop there. Utility bills, electricity, water, gas, and even your internet, are also getting pricier. Power companies face higher fuel costs to generate electricity, and they pass that on to you. Suddenly, a larger and larger chunk of your monthly income is just going toward keeping a roof over your head and the lights on. This makes it incredibly difficult to save for other goals. Beyond the big three, food, transport, and housing, inflation seeps into other essential areas of our lives, like healthcare. The cost of medical services, prescription drugs, and health insurance premiums seems to be in a constant state of increase. An unexpected medical issue can be financially devastating, especially if you don't have a solid emergency fund. Even everyday essentials like toothpaste, soap, and cleaning supplies are becoming less affordable. When the price of everything slowly goes up, it becomes harder to handle unexpected emergencies. What might have been a manageable car repair a few years ago could now be a major financial setback that forces you into debt. Of course, life isn't just about surviving, it's also about enjoying it. But inflation puts a squeeze on our lifestyle and entertainment budgets too. That Netflix or Spotify subscription might have had a price hike recently. The cost of going out to eat, grabbing a drink with friends, or going to a concert has noticeably increased. Many of us find ourselves cutting back on these wants just to afford our needs. This is where inflation doesn't just affect our wallets, it affects our quality of life and our mental well-being. It can be stressful and demoralizing to feel like you're constantly having to say no to things that bring you joy, simply because you can't afford them anymore. So, a common question is, Why don't our wages just go up to match inflation? It seems logical, right? If things cost 5% more, we should get a 5% raise. Unfortunately, it rarely works that way. Wage growth often lags behind the rate of inflation. Your company might give you a 2% raise, but if inflation is at 4%, you've effectively taken a 2% pay cut in terms of your real purchasing power. This is what economists call a decrease in real income. This growing gap between wage growth and the cost of living is why more and more people feel financially stressed, even if they're earning more than they did a few years ago. They are working just as hard, if not harder, but feel like they are falling behind. It all sounds a bit gloomy, but don't lose hope. There are proactive steps you can take to protect your money from the effects of inflation. The first and most powerful step is to budget smarter. You need to know exactly where your money is going. Use an app or a simple spreadsheet to track your spending for a month. You'll likely be surprised where your money is disappearing. Once you have that clarity, you can create a realistic budget that prioritizes your needs. Second, focus on building an emergency savings fund. Having 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses saved up provides a crucial buffer against unexpected costs. It gives you peace of mind and prevents you from going into debt when life happens. Finally, look for ways to increase your income, whether it's through a side hustle, asking for a raise, or developing new skills. And it's never too early to learn the basics of investing. Investing is one of the key ways to make your money grow faster than inflation, protecting its value over the long term. To wrap things up, inflation isn't just some abstract economic concept you hear about on the news. It's a real force that impacts our daily lives and the choices we make, from what we put in our grocery carts to how we plan for our future. The first step to fighting back is awareness. By understanding how it works and where it's affecting you most, you can start making smarter financial decisions. It's all about being proactive and adapting to the changing economic landscape. The sooner you start making these adjustments, the more financially stable and secure you'll be in the long run. Let's talk about something we all do: grocery shopping. Have you noticed your grocery bills getting higher and higher, even when you're buying the same things? That's inflation hitting you where it hurts most. The prices of basic necessities like eggs, milk, bread, and meat have been climbing steadily. What used to be a simple weekly shop can now feel like a major expense. And it's not just the prices. Have you ever picked up a bag of chips and felt like it's half empty? That's called shrinkflation. Companies are putting less product in the same packaging, but charging the same price, or sometimes even more. It's a sneaky way inflation shows up. Over time, these rising costs force us to change our eating habits. Maybe you're buying less fresh produce, switching to cheaper brands, or cutting back on meat. These small adjustments are a direct result of your money not stretching as far as it used to. Next up, let's look at transportation. Getting from point A to point B is costing more than ever. The most obvious one is the price of fuel. Every time you fill up your tank, you can feel the sting of inflation. These price hikes aren't just an inconvenience. They affect your entire budget, especially if you have a long commute. But it's not just car owners feeling the pinch. Public transportation fares are also on the rise. Bus and train tickets are becoming more expensive as operating costs go up. And what about ride-hailing services? You've probably noticed that surge pricing seems to be more common and the base fares have increased. Even maintaining your vehicle has become pricier. The cost of spare parts, tires, and labor for routine maintenance has gone up, making it harder to keep your car in good shape without breaking the bank. Now let's move on to the biggest expense for most people: housing. Whether you're renting or own a home, inflation is making it tougher to keep a roof over your head. Rents have been soaring in many areas, forcing people to dedicate a much larger portion of their income just to housing. If you're a homeowner, you might be facing higher mortgage payments, especially if you have a variable rate loan. But it doesn't stop there. Utility bills are also climbing. The cost of electricity, water, and gas has been steadily increasing, adding to the monthly financial pressure. Even your internet bill might be creeping up. All these combined mean that housing is eating up a bigger and bigger slice of your paycheck, leaving less money for everything else. This makes it incredibly difficult to save or invest for the future. Beyond food, transport, and housing, inflation is also affecting our health and other essential needs. Healthcare costs, for instance, are notoriously on the rise. Insurance premiums are going up, and so are the out-of-pocket costs for doctor visits, prescriptions, and medical procedures. This can be especially stressful because health is not something you can just cut back on. An unexpected medical emergency can now be financially devastating for families without a solid savings cushion. Other everyday essentials, like toiletries, cleaning supplies, and clothing, are also becoming less affordable. When the cost of everything goes up simultaneously, it becomes a constant juggling act to cover all the bases. This squeeze on essentials makes it harder to build financial security and leaves many feeling vulnerable. What about our lifestyle and the things that bring us joy? Unfortunately, inflation impacts those too. The cost of entertainment and leisure activities has gone up. That monthly subscription to your favorite streaming service? The price probably increased. Thinking of dining out at your favorite restaurant? You'll likely notice the menu prices are higher. Even simple pleasures like grabbing a coffee or going to the movies are becoming more of a luxury. As a result, many of us are forced to cut back on these wants just to afford our needs. This isn't just about money, it's about our quality of life. When we have to constantly say no to activities we enjoy, it can take a toll on our happiness and well-being. Inflation isn't just an economic concept, it's something that directly affects how we live and experience our lives every single day. So, why does it feel like your salary can never catch up? This is a common and frustrating reality for many. While prices for goods and services are rising quickly, wage growth often lags far behind. Your company might give you a small annual raise, but if that raise is less than the rate of inflation, you're actually losing purchasing power. This is what economists call a decrease in real income. You might be earning more dollars, but those dollars buy you less than they did last year. This growing gap between income and expenses is why so many people feel financially stressed, even if they have a steady job. They're working just as hard, if not harder, but find it more difficult to get ahead. This financial pressure can lead to anxiety and make it challenging to plan for long-term goals like retirement or buying a home. So, with all this happening, what can you actually do to protect your money? It might feel overwhelming, but there are practical steps you can take. First, get serious about budgeting. Start tracking your spending to see exactly where your money is going. This awareness is the first step to identifying areas where you can cut back. Second, focus on building an emergency fund. Having 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up can provide a critical safety net when unexpected costs arise. Third, look for ways to increase your income. This could mean asking for a raise, finding a side hustle, or developing new skills that make you more valuable in the job market. And finally, consider learning the basics of investing. While it comes with risks, investing can be a powerful way to make your money grow faster than inflation over the long term. To wrap things up, it's clear that inflation isn't just some abstract economic term. It's a real force that affects our daily lives and choices. From the food we buy to the homes we live in, its impact is everywhere. The key takeaway is that being aware of how inflation works and how it affects your finances is the first step toward taking control. It's not about panicking, but about being proactive. By understanding the challenges, you can make smarter financial decisions, adapt your habits, and build a more resilient financial future. The sooner you start making adjustments, the better equipped you'll be to navigate these economic changes and maintain your financial stability.